Hello all, Dr. Jones here. So I received an email in my inbox about the topic choice for the turn of the screw. So I think I just kind of wanted to do a general video and just kind of, maybe everybody has these questions and I just need to clarify. So let's go into the module and have a look around. Okay, first of all, I hope you guys are enjoying the text. I love this book. I think the first part is kind of wonky because you're trying to figure out who Douglas is. Why are they at a party? Why is it Christmas Eve when we're telling ghost stories? So I think once you get over that initial part and you actually get into the governess's tale, things begin to make more sense. But I digress. Let us pull back to the essay. Alright, so if you'll go right here to this folder, right here. So we have an MLA literary criticism option. So you can click here. Now, for the most part, for this paper, I wanted to give you guys a lot of options. I wanted it to be wide open. You can talk about themes, you can talk about symbols, you can talk about characters, you can do all these different things. But I also think a lot of times, sometimes when the choice is too large, sometimes it's helpful to have some boundaries. So I'm going to make a video on this and hopefully it'll help kind of give you a little bit more structure about this paper. So really what I'm asking you to do is to write a literary criticism. Okay, a literary criticism is where you read a novel, a short story, and you analyze it in a particular way, and then you do research on it. So if you will go to the second page of this Google Doc, it's just your guidelines again, 6 pages, 4 sources other than your text. You'll have 5 total sources. MLA format, but here is really where I think the parameters will help. So these are different types of literary analysis or criticism, different approaches that you can take to this essay. Okay, so the first one is a sociological criticism. So say you read the book and you're really interested in Victorian society and how they rear children. You know, poor Miles got sent off to school. Flora's at home with a governess, so that's very different than how we work today. So Victorian culture, in a lot of ways, dictated how these children were raised and what left them susceptible. Or even the fact that these children were to be seen, not heard, that the master kind of discards them. So you might want to do something about the Victorian era, the sociological, the sort of what's happening in society that made this particular story, especially if you're focusing on the children. Or you could do a reader response criticism. This one is a little harder for this particular guy. Basically, you read the story and then you tell me how your own religion, cultural, or social values kind of reflect in the story and how that translate your interpretation of events. For this paper, I don't think a reader response would be the best option. I, of course, wouldn't want to tell you not to do it. But one of the dangers of a reader response is that sometimes you can retell the story. You kind of get into a flow where you're like, and then the governess went upstairs, that type of thing. And also the research element part is also a little more difficult. But if you think you can do it and you want to run some notes by me, please do. The gender feminist criticism, especially for the turn of the screw, is a fairly, I would say, accessible topic. So you could talk about the role of the governess. You could talk about what jobs were available to women during this time period, how that left her susceptible to, maybe you don't believe the ghosts are real, that left her susceptible to, I don't know, isolation, hysteria, these types of things, these sort of Victorian women hysterical issues that they tend to diagnose back in the day. Perhaps you want to talk about how, I don't know, there are a lot of different avenues that you could take with this. You might even want to tackle Miss Jessel and what, perhaps her relationship with the people in the novel and why that could have caused her to, into any of those things. Biographical criticism, I like this one. This one talks about Henry James. You're going to talk about how the author's life was reflected in the novel. You could talk about his brother William James, who was one of the top psychoanalysts of America. They were an interesting family, so you could tie that into the novel, because we have a lot of stream of consciousness, so it's pretty interesting. That whole biographical is neat. Psychoanalytic criticism, for this guy, you could diagnose the governess with schizophrenia, and you could research schizophrenia. You could go through the text, find quotes where she's exhibiting signs of that, symptoms, those types of things. The next two, this new historicism and formalist. Formalist is for poetry. New historicism, this kind of looks at the impact of politics, ideologies, and social customs of an author's world. So again, that kind of floats into your sociological criticism a little bit. These two kind of melt into one another. As long as your thesis is strong and you have a clear vision, I wouldn't worry about sort of the categories as much. But hopefully those right there, these little different exits that you can take off the highway of this paper, will be helpful and help you to kind of narrow the vision a little bit. So there's a lot you can do. I think my main goal is that you're interested in what you're writing, and as you search through the scholarly sources, that you find something that you actually enjoy. Okay? All right, the rest of this is just, you find a source. What am I supposed to do with this source? How do I incorporate it in my paper? So this is kind of, you can agree, you can disagree, you can elaborate further on the point. This is just a couple of tips on how to actually read the book. Process ideas. This will kind of help you focus in on what you think your topic wants to be. Always leave yourself time. So just make sure that you don't try to write a 6-page paper at the last minute. I'm typically a dual enrollment teacher, so a lot of these are for high schoolers, so hence the exclamation point. Please don't wait till the night before. Here's some topics of different books that might be helpful, just kind of give you an idea. I feel like I gave you a billion topic ideas as we were going through the different categories. But feel free to choose your own. I don't want to limit your possibilities with my suggestions, so please. And here's a little bit about the rubrics, some more sample thesis sentences. And then I have a lot of questions about how do I cite a dictionary, how do I cite the Bible. So there are a couple of these just in case. And then just a little more about how I'm going to grade it, what I'm going to look for, focus, development, organization. So hopefully that will help you. I'm thinking that's probably more information than you needed, but I do feel like this was important because I did receive some questions. So please email me if there's anything that I can do to help you as you read this story and you think about the exit that you want to take for this paper, okay? So I'm super excited about reading these guys. I want to know what you think, because The Turn of the Screw is one of my most favorite books. So anyway, okay. So you guys have a great one. Email me if you need me, okay? All right, we'll see ya.